When you hug someone, you feel so great. That's the far infrared energy being exchanged between you and them, because we are far infrared light beings. So the far infrared energy is like the magic frequency of light. That's the same as water. And what it does, it vibrates the water molecules. The only purpose for a far infrared sauna is to vibrate the water molecules. And from that comes a cascading whole bunch of effects.
Mainstream mental health is flawed, and I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm Andrea Clark, a former family therapist who walked away from the system to expose the truth. After my own journey from medication maze to holistic healing, I'm here to challenge the status quo and reveal the mental health truths most people don't know. The truth about mental health is your radical roadmap to wellness. Raw stories, expert insights, breakthrough solutions. This is where traditional modalities end and real healing begins. Phillip Wilson received an honors degree in mathematics in 1970 and spent 5 years studying the history and philosophy of mathematics in graduate school. In 1970, he had an out-of-body experience and a Kundalini awakening. These two incidents made Phil very sensitive and propelled him from the world of mathematics into the world of holistic health. Phil became a pioneer in promoting fasting, herbs, and a pure diet. He considers himself to be the original biohacker. In 1980, he opened a health food store and health food distribution company, focusing on selling cutting-edge nutritional products and massage tools to over 1,100 health food stores and health professionals monthly. In 2002, Phil was introduced to the Relax Far Infrared Sauna. He had spent the last 22 years educating many about not only the benefits of far infrared light, but also the incredible difference between the light emitted from the relaxed sauna and the frequency of light energy emitted by other good infrared saunas. Phil's discussions and interviews are highly informative, laced with humor and wisdom and uplifting. And I want to take a moment to say something about this particular episode. It's definitely not like my traditional episodes. I did very much enjoy speaking with Phil. He's very, very philosophical, which was really cool to experience, keeping up with him and following the things he was saying in the conversation. So I want you to be aware that there's a lot of deep philosophical discussion in this particular episode, and I'm excited for you to hear from Phil. Let's dive in. Hi, Phillip. I'm super excited to have you here.
Andrea, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm very excited about this next hour.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just dive right in. I'd love for you to educate my listeners on what exactly is infrared therapy. We see a lot of it. It's becoming kind of popular on social media. So can you educate us on what that is exactly?
Okay. Now, basically, when you go under the sun on a hot day, I'm sure almost everyone has experienced it like time and time after again. But when you close your eyes in the hot sun, you feel like there's a searing, incredible warmth inside your body to the bone. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's one of the most healing therapies on the planet. Mm-hmm. Hippocrates talked about, he's the father of modern medicine, and he says, find me a way to create fever, and I will cure any disease. Mm-hmm. Infrared light, like ultraviolet light, is invisible. Mm-hmm. Microwave energy is invisible to light. When you click your clicker on your remote, whether it be a TV or you're in a hotel or the airport and you go into the bathroom and you stick your hand out and the soap comes out, stick your hand out and the water comes out, that would be near infrared.
Okay.
The Dr. Gerald Pollack wrote a book called The Fourth Phase of Water. Water is important. And he said not that 70% of our cells are body, but 99% of our body is actually water. Mm-hmm. And the far infrared light, more so than the infrared light, is the active ingredients. It's the secret. It's the magic frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is far infrared the magic frequency? Because we vibrate. We are infrared light beings. To be specific, we are far infrared light beings. According to the book by Dr. Sherry Rogers, written in around 2001, the book is called Detoxify or Die.
Mm-hmm.
It's a testament to the benefits of far infrared saunas.
Okay.
She's an environmental medical doctor, and in the late 1990s, hundreds of people with multi-chemical sensitivities and with environmental concerns were led to her because they were left dead by the medical establishment. Because the medical establishment seems to have forgotten the credo of Hippocrates when he said, above all, do no harm. And, when a system meant for good gets corrupted for a variety of reasons, whether it be profit or other ulterior motives, when people have an agenda, that means they're sort of like not servicing. And the reason we start a business is to give a service. And the byproduct, it would be called profit. And with that profit, we can now give a greater service, and it's a vital circle. It's a vital circle, not a vicious circle, because you're going upwards. You're moving into higher levels of consciousness. So, again, it turns out that this world was sort of, I guess, it goes into the reason why we're here. Part of the reason why we're here is to get centered and get the parasympathetic nervous system activated in a way that we're tuned in. Like the pineal gland is the contact we have with the divine, with, beyond the mind, beyond the emotions and feelings, and beyond the physical body. And for some reason, they're putting fluoride in the water, and this calcifies the pineal gland and makes it harder for you to connect.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even know if the priestcraft recognizes, but when they do a baptism, that's supposed to keep the pineal gland soft, so that the connection is easier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as people say, on a full moon, it's easier to get connected to the divine for some reason. You have microwave energy, and there's so Dr. Sherry Rogers says in her book, we are far infrared light beings. We shine between 3 and 50 microns of, that's the vibration. Pythagoras, the father of modern mathematics, and actually known at the time also as a spiritual teacher, he had his own school, and they taught, spiritual principles of being connected. Sometimes he would put his students on 5 years of silence to get them connected, to get them not distracted. Mm-hmm. So, the far infrared energy that we emanate is mainly 9.4 microns of frequency. Everything vibrates. The frequency of water, it's a far infrared invisible frequency, because everything vibrates, but the only frequencies we see is between 0.48 and 0.76 microns. So the frequency of water being 8 microns is about 10 times, if the frequency of red is 10 times the frequency of water. Or water's 10 times the frequency, and we're about 11 or 12 times that frequency. So, and also the size of the frequency is, the size of a human hair diameter is about 50 microns. The size of cashmere, the goat hair, is about 17 microns. So we vibrate at about half the wavelength of the goat hair and about one-fifth the wavelength of the human hair. So this just gives you a perspective. So you have, I don't have a picture here, but the spectrum goes from radio waves, gamma waves, ultraviolet, which is how we get a suntan or sunburn, the visible light, very, very small. And then you have the near infrared, the mid infrared, and the far infrared. And then way, way, way out there is the microwave, and there are other waves too.
Okay.
Now, we get EMF poisoning from the microwave mainly. And Dr. Yamaguchi has pointed out, he's done a lot of research in Japan. He says only the 7 to 14 micron frequency of far infrared ray vibrates the water molecules. Now that makes sense if I say water's at 8 microns and the human body's at 9.4 microns. So because we don't recognize as something different than us, it's absorbed into the water and penetrates very deeply, and it also weakens the ionic bonds and releases toxic poisonous gases.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go into the sun and you experience that, that's the far infrared. Far infrared is responsible for photosynthesis in plants. Why? Because it gives the plant, by vibrating the water, it gives the plant the power to move and to bend, according to Dr. Gerald Pollack, author of The Fourth Phase of Water. He found out that there's something called the fourth phase of water, which he calls exclusion zone water or easy water. But that water is pure and nothing can be dissolved into it. And accidentally, his lab person shined a normal lamp on it, and it increased that precious exclusion zone water. And he found that the far infrared is the frequency that best increases it.
Okay.
So far infrared radiation is the magic frequency. Why? Because it's the same frequency as us. Now that's tells you what infrared and far infrared is, in the fact that infrared, 60-70% of the light from the sun, I'm not sure if it's 40, 50, 60% of the light from the sun is near infrared.
Mm-hmm.
But the far infrared, that's the precious jewel, and it's not all over the place. That's what we want in our sauna to perform the magic that far infrared saunas do. Now, the technologies, they started infrared saunas, creating them in the 60s. They did research in Japan initially, I think in Germany, and of course, all countries have participated in research. There is so much research out there, but it's hidden mainly because there's not a whole lot of money to be made. For example, right now there's a fad with red light. Now,
Yes.
as far as I can tell, the red light machines are so jacked up. I mean, they're selling for 20 times what it costs to manufacture. And that's why you have a lot of people promoting red light, because there's a lot of profit in it. And red light is good. I have a book by Ari Whitten. It's called Red Light Therapy, and talks about red light and near infrared lasers. And there's a lot of benefit to that, but it's small and minuscule compared to the benefits of far infrared ray. And the world hasn't caught up to that because they're promoting red light.
Which I love.
Nice, yeah. But, the far infrared goes through the sand and resonates with the water and turtle eggs.
Okay.
And activates the turtle egg embryo to grow into a turtle.
Okay, so if it's that powerful, why would we want to have why would we want to be exposed to it regularly? What is it going to do for us as humans?
Well, divine love is something that is nice to be exposed to every so often.
Yeah.
And I liken the relaxed sauna to of all the machines you can find, like Tesla said, and Edison said, and even Jacob Lieberman, an eye doctor in the last 40 years, has said that the medicine of the future is vibration, frequency, and light.
Yeah.
So basically, when you hug someone, you feel so great. That's the far infrared energy being exchanged between you and them.
Wow. Okay.
Because we are far infrared light beings, and all mammals and all birds are far infrared light beings, and snakes can see far infrared light, and that's how they catch their prey at night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they can see mice and frogs and toads and whatever, the little guys, and even the big guys. So the far infrared energy is like the magic frequency is between 8 and 10 or between 7 and 14 microns. That's the frequency of light. That's the same as water. And what it does, it vibrates the water molecules. It's the only purpose for a far infrared sauna purpose is one, to vibrate the water molecules.
So is it vibrating the water molecules in our body?
Yes. Okay. And that's from that comes a cascading whole bunch of effects. Number one, if all the water molecules in your body are dancing, like 100 people in a small room dancing. Okay, the small room is going to get hot. Okay, our bodies are going to get hot. Hippocrates says, "Find me a way to create fever, and I will cure any disease." That's called hyperthermia. There's a hyperthermia hospital in Germany called St. George Hospital. They get the body temperature up to 104, 105. That kills all the pathogens. It kills all the, it increases circulation, lowers blood pressure, activates the parasympathetic nervous system. They do all this to detoxify you, and then they make sure they don't get it too high, because if they get it too high, the body dies, and that defeats the whole purpose.
Right.
So, at any rate, a far infrared energy is an invisible light that comes from the sun that scientists have used to create. Infrared is, the TV remote, the water, all that is some of its motion, like with the paper towels, but some of the paper towels is light. So it's an invisible energy. It's an invisible light, and we can perceive it with our senses, just like many people, can feel, a presence sometimes. Yeah.
Neuroceptivity.
And again, when you break through the ideas of what being a human is, and you start listening to the inner sound and seeing the inner light, which many, many can do. And it's all involved when you get into a far infrared sauna. The purpose of that is to vibrate the water molecules, and you want to be able to, and unfortunately, the near does not penetrate very deeply. It penetrates 1/16 of an inch. And again, near is between, technically it's between 0.72 microns, but we're at 8 and 9.4. And so it's so far away from us, we sense it, and therefore we resist it, like naturally. And that causes a little stress. And so the light is harsh. And so if you have 100% far infrared light, that's going to be warm, soft, and loving.
Okay.
Therefore, it's going to be more therapeutic. And that's why some saunas, although they're great, can't get the total job done because they don't have enough far infrared light. They have too much near. Yeah. Okay, so let's get with some meaty questions to inspire people.
Well, let me ask you a question as I'm trying to piece this together with all the numbers that you threw at me, because I'm not a numbers gal.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. So where does
red light fall into that? I'm just curious. Where does red light fall into these different? Is it even as powerful as near infrared, or I just kind of want to understand where does it fall on the spectrum before we get into the benefits of far infrared?
Well, they have near infrared lasers. Because there's been a lot of research on, they can be very effective.
Yeah, I've had one on my neck before for injury.
Right. And so that's not for detoxifying.
Right.
That's for surgery or for whatever. And so near infrared is like, and red light, people are doing red light and they're getting a lot of benefits. But if they only had the far infrared light, now the red light, I talked to a lady the other day. She's been using red light for 2 years. It's a lot. Yeah. Then she got the relaxed sauna about 6 months ago, and exponentially that's helping her way more. It's getting the red light to work better, but there's benefits from far infrared light, like mainly the fact that it's vibrating the water molecules, and that's doing a whole cascade of effects of lowering blood pressure, increasing circulation, oxygenating the body. See, and near infrared works sort of like mechanically. It uses photon energy, and the far infrared is vibrationally.
Okay, that makes sense. It's more, creates a more
chemical
official result, right? Because it doesn't go as deep.
Yeah, it goes 1/16 of an inch deep.
Yeah. Okay. It's helpful to me. Okay. So
it's good for the skin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great for the skin. Let's talk about then, we understand that the far infrared is vibrating our water molecules, which is really cool to think about.
Yeah.
So
right.
What, like on a practical side, for people who might want to explore your sauna or using some other far infrared, what does vibrating our water molecules with that technology, what is that doing for us?
Well, it weakens the ionic bonds.
Okay.
Now, also, I talked to a doctor, a well-known doctor, and he was like the first person who says, yes, when you vibrate the water molecules, the angle between the hydrogen and the oxygen goes from 32% to 27%. So the water molecules become smaller.
Okay. And why is that good for us?
Because the blood cells will become smaller.
Okay. And why do we want our blood cells to become smaller?
Circulation will increase.
Okay. Very cool.
And it will also lower blood pressure as well.
Okay. Awesome.
And then that's one of the benefits of vibrating the water molecules. Also, it weakens the ionic bonds as well. Now, water traps some poisonous gases are trapped in the water molecules because they clump.
Mm-hmm.
And the far infrared structures the water. Everyone's talking about structured water. The best structure of water is far infrared ray. Besides that, it antidotes microwave EMF damage.
Mm.
Okay, because these cell phones we carry have so much EMF in them, and they're 100 times more dangerous than the EMF of a TV, vacuum cleaner, a juicer, a blender, or a sauna energy. And the fear of EMF is probably 100 times worse than that. And it turns out that when we sent the Relax sauna and that $1,400 portable full spectrum low EMF sauna and a $250 Amazon sauna, when we sent them to Harvard, MIT Science and Technology Lab, they didn't do a study, but they gave us a report on the frequencies, and they said that the Relax sauna had 1/12 the EMF of that sauna and 180th the EMF of the Amazon sauna. But again, I'm saying that the microwave, the Wi-Fi in the building you're in, is more dangerous than the EMF from even that portable sauna. And so we're testing our results to verify what the 1,000 video testimonies on YouTube have indicated.
Yeah, so let's talk more about that, about the benefits of the far infrared therapy. And I'm understanding the mechanism better with the shrinking the water molecules, right? Decreasing and increasing circulation. So what are the benefits of lowering blood pressure? What are some of the other benefits mentally and emotionally and physically of increasing circulation and detoxifying?
We were at a mental health conference about 3 weeks ago in San Diego. We do that conference about every year. And I remember about 15 years ago, a friend of mine said, I just got in the Relax sauna for 20 minutes for the first time and my depression went away. Now, why are people have depression? Why do people have anxiety? It's all related. If you can get into the present moment, that's the true healer. That's like when we sleep, I call it the neurotic caffeine mind, gets out of the way. And then we're in the parasympathetic and it's all about activating the parasympathetic nervous system. That to me is the crux And in the 7 to 14 micron frequency, that is the main frequency that vibrates the water molecules. And again, we talked about the circulation, but it oxygenates the body.
Mm-hmm.
This, like, if you study ozone, even hydrogen peroxide with caution can be helpful to the body, whether you do a bath in it or whether you go to the protocols that are, you want to be very careful, before you do it. But ozone infusion, there are 2 companies that make ozone machines. They also sell an ozone sauna, and they recommend, and they sell the ozone sauna is the relaxed sauna and their ozone equipment. And they choose the relaxed sauna because it seems to be by far the highest quality sauna. And a lot of people, we just came from an IV therapy conference. And a lot of times, if you can increase the body temperature 1 degree, you increase absorption of nutrients 20%. Okay, and the way to understand that, if I've got salt dissolved in water and I heat the water, more salt can be dissolved.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you heat the body, you can absorb more nutrients than otherwise you could. But going back to the parasympathetic nervous system is sort of like the connection we have with the divine. Okay, when we can get into the present moment, and I'm involved in writing a book called Pictures of the Mind, freeing yourself from beliefs that no longer serve you. And like, for example, if you're judging people and say, I can't seem to figure out how to quit judging,
mm-hmm.
There is an antidote to that. And the antidote is simply observation. And observation comes from the word serve, and observe, which comes from the word serve. And there's only one thing we can do is to serve, and that's serving the divine. And that's your freedom and the freedom of all souls. And so the parasympathetic nervous system, which gets you super relaxed. And so, for example, when you get in the relaxed far infrared sauna, you feel all the water molecules start vibrating, slowly increases your body temperature. That is not not the therapy, the heat inside the sauna. This is not a Finnish sauna. It has all the benefits of a Finnish sauna, but more. In the Finnish sauna, you increase the heat, and the Mayo Clinic says, hey, if you are a heart patient of ours, it's dangerous for you to go into a regular sauna or a hot tub, because the body has to race to find an equilibrium between the inside temperature and the outside temperature. But if you increase the inside temperature with far infrared saunas, you can increase the body temperature 1, 2, or 3 degrees in 25 minutes. And this will have the magic of getting you the parasympathetic, especially with the 7 to 14 micron. That's because that vibrates the water molecules. If you're heated up, that's not the therapy. And they say that an infrared sauna, 17% of the toxins, 17% of the liquid is toxins in an infrared sauna. In a Finnish sauna, 2%. And so if you want to detoxify you, red light, PEMF, microcurrent technology, near infrared, ozone, hyperbaric oxygen chamber, all great technologies, and I endorse all of them. But if you want to detoxify you need to get that machine that digs dirt deep out of the earth. That's the far infrared ray. That's what it does. It gets it out of the cells. To think about what a far infrared sauna does is to think about what water in a washing machine does to your clothes. Okay. The water is like, what do you mean? The solid water is going to penetrate these solid clothes? I said, yeah, the clothes are porous. Okay. And so the water will go in and it'll saturate the clothes. We call it wet, and it will cleanse every fiber. It'll cleanse every fiber of the clothes. So you think of the far infrared light going into the body and vibrate the water molecules, cleansing every cell of the body in the same way. And it purifies. And if you purify, you're going to get anxiety to a minimum. Autism, guys, I mean, It just, whether wherever you are on the spectrum of autism, the far infrared is, as we have testimonies galore, it relaxes them. It gets rid of the anxiety. Just 5 to 7 minutes with your clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
Relax sauna is unique because it doesn't take 10, 20, 30, or 40 minutes to preheat. It takes 10 to 30 seconds because we use semiconductor chip technology made in Taiwan. It took the Relax Sauna company there 10 years to give you the exact frequency of water, 14 microns. And that's why we have so much more results than other saunas, because they can't get the job done because they don't have enough far infrared ray to vibrate the water molecules to detoxify the body.
That's really cool. I have a question for you about people who are heat sensitive. So there's a lot of people who have histamine issues. I don't know if you're familiar, and I'm one of those people. I can't go into saunas.
Okay.
Like, I live in Vegas, and if I go for a walk too late during the summer, I have a migraine from the heat. Now, I understand infrared's different from what I'm experiencing, but I'm curious if people with those types of challenges can use this technology and not experience symptoms from their body heating up.
Well, surprisingly enough, I've got a number of testimonies from people who say, I don't like saunas. But I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people with MS, they're not supposed to get hot.
I didn't know.
But, or it's not that they're not supposed to. When they get hot, they get symptoms.
Right.
There's no such thing as not supposed to. I'm not into rules. I'm not a rule lover. I'm a freedom lover. And rules have their place to get you to a plateau. And once you get to the plateau, the rules actually interfere with your freedom. But the people with MS who go into the sauna get results. People say, I don't like the heat, but because your head sticks out, number one, like you can see it in back of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you put a folded towel on the chair, and then you drape another towel over it. And that way the chair never gets wet, and you can have a 20-25 minute sweat, and you just take it out, close it up, turn it on for 5-7 minutes, and it self-cleans like a self-cleaning oven. But the people with MS and all these people, like heart patients, when they go in the relaxed sauna, because it raises the body temperature 1 degree in 5 or 10 minutes. And even the other saunas will raise body temperature. This one guy did a study, though, and the 2 Amazon saunas that he bought for $250 and $500, they only increased body temperature 0.5 degree, and they did not increase heart rate variability at all. And the way to measure the therapeutic value of a sauna is how much increases heart rate variability. The heart rate variability is basically the space between heartbeats, the time between heartbeats. The more that is, the more you're able to be like a Qigong master or a Jiu-Jitsu master. Gets you into the present moment. And all of a sudden, when anything comes at you, you can handle it with responsibility. You can, from the ability that you have to be in the moment, which is what responsibility is all about, rather than reacting. You want to respond. And the more any mental health person learns how to respond instead of react. For example, you know what PTSD is?
Yes.
Traumatic stress syndrome. Every experience in life that you did not embrace is a form of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, from a scale of 1 to 100. And it's an issue that you have not resolved. Resolved means solved.
Mm-hmm.
When we're told to, recreation is, that's when you go out and play. Okay. But see, we're creatures, aren't we? Okay. Well, that means we were ordained to create, because creatures create. You go out and play. They call that recreation. That means you recreate.
Mm-hmm. Because
when you're playing, you're in the present moment. You're just there. And that's how we create, by getting into the present moment. So the great therapy of a far infrared sauna is to prod you gently to be into the present moment. I call the relaxed sauna, more so than other saunas, but all saunas to a degree, or infrared saunas. The far infrared energy is relaxing because it's getting the water molecules to vibrate. It's getting you calmed. It's getting you into the present moment. And that's when all the magic in life happens. I have a very interesting quasi definition of pain. And that is, it's the awareness of time.
Okay.
Okay. So have you ever hurried?
Yeah, lots of times.
It's painful, isn't it?
It's stressful. So yeah, it's painful. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
have you ever worried?
Yeah, sure.
See, being concerned is healthy, but overly concerned is called worried. And that's, even waiting can be painful.
I think it can if you have not embraced radical acceptance of things.
Well, then it's not waiting. See, like a watch pot never boils. You just gaze.
Mm-hmm.
You just hang out. See, every moment of my life, I'm putting attention on centering. So I don't have time to wait, because if it, in a position where people wait, I just find something to do, like centering or observing. And when you observe a sunset, don't you just say, "Oh my gosh, that's so pretty and beautiful"?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't say, "I think the purple should be where the orange is," do you?
No.
Okay, that would be a judgment.
Right.
You can judge or you can observe. You can't do both at the same time. And so when you switch from judgment to observation, and the difference between a judgment and an observation is there's a dark lining in every judgment that you don't find in an observation, and that is a complaint.
Right.
So if you could learn to refrain from judging, and don't feel guilty, because if you feel guilty, you sentence yourself to do it again until you do it with joy. But judging not lest you be judged. But these are all the kind of things that help mental health. The awareness of the importance of the present moment, and the chill. Like a friend of mine about 15 years ago told me I needed to take a chill pill.
So how does this get somebody into, like, can you explain to them about the parasympathetic and how getting into that state brings them to the present moment?
Well, the sympathetic nervous system is flight or fight. It was like, when an animal is put into a corner, they'll do anything. They'll lash out at you. It's like there are no rules. They're out to protect themselves, like a bear to its cub. You don't mess with a mother bear. That's when, so it's like that's the fight or flight. But a karate master, a jiu-jitsu master, any martial arts, tai chi or whatever, or just a wise being who learns to live in the present moment, because you're in the moment, you're listening, okay? You're not reacting. You're responding. You sort of like have precognition or pre-awareness of what they're going to do, because you're in the moment. And therefore, if you're out of the moment, then you're going to be caught off guard.
Right.
And, you forgot something, you go downstairs, forgot your cell phone, and you begrudgingly go upstairs. No, you turn into exercise mode. You make it fun. Whatever you have to do, you make it fun. That's akin with observation. Observe. You're not judging. You're not complaining. You're not. You're chilling. And the far infrared energy is one of the best damn things in this world, by vibrating the water molecules and activating the parasympathetic. That's one of the best things you can do to get rid of anxiety. See, the whole nervous system, from all the PTSDs you've done, that comes into the body, and it's something that needs to be worked out. A massage therapist will say you have an issue in your tissue, and with every issue in your tissue is associated a picture that you did not embrace.
Mm-hmm.
That you did not embrace, and when you can get that embrace, the pain will go away. It's programmed into you because we're creators. We're no longer victims. We when we take responsibility, again, respond from an ability for creating the mess that we got in, then we can uncreate it. That's what recreation. Through recreation, we can recreate our life. And so we can't blame anyone no more. I said that perfectly with bad grammar to make a point, so that, you can't blame anyone. It's not allowed. I mean, you can do it, but you start saying, I'm Phil Wilson, and Bill Wilson was one of the partners who started Alcohol Anonymous. Because I'm Phil Wilson, I'm going to start Blamers Anonymous because I used to be a blamer. I used to blame others for problems that I had. And when you look at it from a cosmic viewpoint, that's humorous. You're not accepting the fact that you're the creator. That's why we're creatures. That, again, the far infrared energy, the more we have, the more potent we have. The relaxed sauna has 10 times the far infrared ray energy of almost all $8,000, $10,000 saunas. Because we only give you the far. It took 10 years for the relaxed sauna company to create this semiconductor chip. And this takes the electricity and filters out and only gives you no near, no mid, no red light, obviously, but only the far infrared energy. And the more we have of that, the more it's going to vibrate the water molecule, increase the body temperature, and get close to what hyperthermia is all about. Again, when you increase the body temperature, Hippocrates says, find me a way to create sweat or fever, and I will cure any disease. That's profound. I mean, he didn't say a few diseases. He said any. That means all diseases can be cured by claiming hyperthermia, increased body temperature. Again, why? Because as you increase the temperature, like a lot of times in a classroom, it's chilly.
Right.
Because you fall asleep. If it's too hot, you start, like imagine the frog or the lobster being cooked in a big pan of water. Mm-hmm. They're really enjoying it. And then all of a sudden before that, they're dead.
Can you give us your top 5 favorite testimonies that you've ever heard from people using your sauna?
I was in New York City at a metaphysical conference. Mm-hmm. Lady had her head inside. You can do that. And she said after 5 minutes, all the problems, all the things she was concerned about that day or for weeks and months, she resolved it by being in the sauna. We had a lady who in British Columbia, we were at a EFT, emotional freedom technique, and the repercussions of that, the expansion of that for a psychological conference, and her heart chakra opened up. Plus all her back pain went away too. Heart opened. If we get into the physical, a lady who had 2.5 years, 30 months of blood reports on toxicity of lead and mercury. In 1 month in the relaxed sauna, her blood report came back normal. She lost 65% of her cellulite. Her skin looked beautiful and radiant, and she lost a lot of weight. But the main thing is she was a mess for 2.5 years because of the mercury and the lead poisoning.
Toxins like that create horrible issues. Horrible issues.
Yeah, and as we live in a toxic world, I know Doris Rapp is the one who said, go see Phil about the sauna. And she wrote the book, Our Toxic World. And she was a medical doctor who didn't believe any of this alternative stuff. And then it got proven to her. This is many, many years ago. This one guy got in the sauna and he says, oh my gosh, I can feel my mitochondria. He was very sensitive, moving. And then he said, I can feel in my hands, my feet, my chest, my brain. Oh my gosh, I've got equipment that costs $6,000 that can't do this in half an hour, and this is doing it in 1 minute. We also had at that same conference a man who has had sciatica pain, 7 to 8 pain, constantly for 6.5 weeks. Occasionally would get down to 3 or 4 or 5. He could sleep for an hour or two. He went in a 7.5 minute session. Usually I tell people 7.5 minutes with your clothes on, without sweating, 50% to 100% of your pain will be gone. Thousands. Lady had migraine the other day. Pain 8. She got in the sauna and she said, I'm too hot. So we unzipped it. That's our sophisticated temperature control device. It's called a zipper. We used a zipper and we unzipped it. And then 4 minutes, it got rid of half of her pain, headache, her migraine. Yeah. Sitting there talking with it open for 4 minutes and it all went away. If you have a sunburn, Dr. Yamaguchi says that not only does it the far infrared between 7 and 14 micron antidote EMF, but it will also antidote sunburn. Put 7 or 8 people in the relaxed sauna for 5 to 7 minutes with sunburn pain. And a lot of them are reluctant. But I talked to one lady and says, well, my husband, I said, well, I guarantee you. The husband said, yeah, go for it. She came out, no pain. Who would think that going into that hot thing with a sunburn, the last thing you think you'd want to do, but it's not heat. It's loving light. It's a frequency. It hydrates you. It does all the things. See, a sunburn is an overexposure of ultraviolet light.
Yeah.
EMF poisoning is overexposure of microwave light.
Mm-hmm.
And then one lady, she had elbow pain, and it was the partner of a famous alternative medical doctor, Dr. Klinghardt, and they have access to all these incredible machines but she'd had elbow pain for years she couldn't get rid of. She took the lie down sauna up to her room at the autism conference, and in one session, all the pain was gone. And so, people say I've had elbow pain but shoulder pain for 17 months. Now, it's like, I'm just the observer, and I've seen 30,000 minor or major miracles of people getting the relaxed sauna for 5 to 7 minutes with their clothes on and not sweat, or just barely sweat, and 100% to 50% of their pain is gone. I know it's one person, at a conference about 15 years ago, after getting in the sauna, he lifted his bucket, that he was holding, or a big bag, and said, oh my gosh, I can't, it's like people come out. Neuropathy is another thing. Raynaud's syndrome. My ex-wife, who I'm still great friends with, for the last 14 years, she had Raynaud's all the time. And she had one episode in the first couple months of using the relaxed sauna. Never a problem anymore. Mm-hmm. People with neuropathy get feelings back. We put a vaccine-injured nurse in the relaxed sauna, and she cried because she had feeling in her fingers for the first time in 2.5 years. And then her friend had not been able to feel circulation in her leg at all. 2.5 years, and 5 minutes, she's experiencing feeling the circulation. What the fuck is going on? So it's you want to communicate, whatever it takes to get through, because, we're all stubborn and have, knucklehead skulls. And sometimes we need to communicate. That's the goal. That's the love.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like this is something you're insanely passionate about. And
I've been doing it for 23 years every morning. And there's nothing that puts a cup of coffee to shame better than being in the relaxed sauna for 20 minutes and having a great sweat.
Yeah. So where can people, everything will be linked in the show notes, but I always like to ask my guests, where can they connect with you? Where can they go see more testimonies?
Okay. That's the best question in the world, because people want to be able to do the next step.
Yeah.
So you go to YouTube, put in relax sauna testimonials. And then you'll see that a couple of them have the Relax Sauna logo on it. Click on that. So we also have a website called relaxsaunas.com. And if you go there, you can find out lots of information. There's a page that I specially created called relaxsaunas.com/superior, like the lake. It doesn't matter whether it's capital or lowercase. And there's lots of information. My email is Phil, PHIL, at relaxsaunas, again, plural, relaxsaunas.com. They can contact me that way. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give a discount code where they would save $100.
Okay, so all of that will be in the show notes. So all the mentioned, your email, and then you're going to give these podcast listeners $100 off, which is incredible and very exciting. So, do you have any closing wisdom or thoughts that you want to share for us to round this conversation out?
Well, I've been into alternative therapies for like 55 years. I started fasting in 1971. I was probably one of the original biohackers. I mean, there were some in the 30s and the 40s, but I was one of the original biohackers, and my whole life has been involved in rising above established medical medicine. And, like I haven't taken a drug in 55 years, except when I had a kidney stone, and then I was willing to take any drug. But
well, that's very impressive.
Yes, but I didn't know you were supposed to. But through herbs and through fasting and eating whole foods and listening to your body. Well, while I was meditating, they told me momentum, taking advantage of the moment, propelling yourself into greatness. Taking advantage of the moment means you're living in the present moment and you're listening. You're listening. So when that new wave comes by, you're picking it up, and then you stand in front of the wave, and the wave will propel you into greatness. So we're the creators of our universe. We create, okay? And if our life, and mentally, depression, anxiety, all those things can easily be resolved by developing the right attitude and utilizing technologies and listening. The far infrared saunas are like, especially the relaxed sauna, it really belongs in every home. It does belong in every home. And it will transform a house into a home, because where there's a home, there's a hearth, a place of warmth. It's just like, when we go into our heart, our feeling, we want to merge feeling and thinking at the same time. Thinking without feeling brings woe. Feeling without thinking brings grief. The solution is to turn off the computer, get in touch with your feelings. And if you're a thinker, one needs to feel. If you're a feeler, one needs structure, which means intellectual understanding. And so these are the things that we can do using the relaxed sauna. Even 5 to 10 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day with your clothes on can have phenomenal results for fibromyalgia, any kind of ailment you have, any kind of pain, any kind of malaise, any kind of anxiety, any kind of depression. We're talking about mental health. And believe me, for someone in 1971 who is on a teeter-totter, am I crazy or am I a genius? Because, I was starting to think I was crazy by having all the thoughts I was thinking that were freeing me, So I've gone through the vortex and come out on the other side. And I jokingly say you have to quit hanging onto the walls and let go. And when a way of thinking or a belief system is getting you into trouble, because we're a slave to our beliefs, we're a slave to our desires. And so we can either fulfill the desire or let go of it. Mental health is all about becoming aware of our thoughts, judging not, lest ye be judged. We need to quit judging ourselves and start loving ourselves, because we are only a ball of love. That's all we are. And when we acknowledge this and recognize it, we can chill. We can lay low. And again, it started 55 years ago. I have an honors degree in math, and then I couldn't do math anymore because I didn't have the passion for it anymore, because my new passion was solving problems inwardly, of getting all the blocks that kept me unfree. And the relaxed sauna, of all the products that I've been promoting in the last 55 years, it's the culmination of the product that's going to get me tuned into the divine more so than any other. And I really believe that the relaxed sauna can really help and serve your needs to be a free individual and a vehicle for spirit.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Phillip. I'm really excited for people to hear this episode and to reach out to you. And I'm going to go after this and look at all the testimonies on the YouTube page. And I'm really thankful for everything you're doing in the world to help people heal. I think it's incredible. Thank you so much for being on.
It was a delight. I mean, I really enjoyed you. I enjoyed the topic.
It's all good. I enjoyed learning from you. I appreciate you so much. I am I'm eternally grateful you tuned into The Truth About Mental Health. If this message matters to you, please spread the word by subscribing, leaving a 5-star review, and sharing with someone who needs this knowledge. Let's keep reclaiming our mental health together.